Oh my gosh, these highlights are so fun from offense with Gronk to defense on a team contending to win a Super Bowl, coming off an insane win in Germany. Fourth year, Colts safety, Nick Cross. It's nice to see you. Thank you for making the time on your bye week. What has this year been like? Can you just explain when you're watching these highlights, when you're hearing me say the things I just said, when you're winning, what is this like?
Um, it's good. It's a lot of fun. The season's been a lot of fun for sure. Every day is something new. Shane has been a great coach. Lou, all the people in that building make it fun to come to work every day. And at the end of the day, the more you win, the more fun you have. So it's just one of those things that comes with the business. But I enjoy myself for sure.
We can talk about Lou and the team and like everything you've done. I want to talk about you. 7 tackles, a sack, only one reception allowed against Atlanta. I was at 6:30 in the morning. You would have thought it was New Year's Eve midnight for me. I was freaking out. So happy for you. For a safety, Nick, to be leading the team in tackles. What does that mean? To be that kind of a disruptor, that kind of a presence who's always around the football. How do you get in your head to be that physical, if that makes sense?
I would say just, it comes down to hard work, preparation. It's something I go by, making sure that, I prepare my body, prepare my mind to go out there and go play. And at the end of the day, coaches always talk about imposing your will on your opponent, making sure that you win your one-on-one matchup. And, at the end of the day, as a competitor, that's the goal to go out there and win your one-on-one every single rep and make the most of your opportunities.
You were in Germany, not the first time you guys have played there, but I've been reading, I didn't get to go. I've been hearing a lot, Nick, about how you guys have sort of won over Germany. Like you guys have put roots there, the fans, everything. You're smiling. Is that, how would you describe that, this fan base internationally for the Indianapolis Colts?
I would say it was great. The atmosphere was great. It really felt like a home game out there. They had the music pumping. They had all of our, little aesthetics in the stadium that happened in Lucas Oil out there. And at the end of the day, the majority of the stadium was filled with blue. A couple of those people had their own, different jerseys and stuff out there. But for the most part, they're out there wearing that Colts blue, and it was great to see. And every time we made a play, the stadium erupted, especially at the end when JT had that game-winning touchdown.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was a great play and a great atmosphere to go out there and play in.
What is JT like when he does these things, these like bunches of touchdowns? What is he like then on the sideline?
I mean, he's pretty chill on the sideline. At the end of the day, he's somebody I talk to a lot in the building, and real chill, real calm. Goes about his business the right way. But we're sitting there on the defensive sideline and looking up, and you hear the crowd start to get rowdy. And you look up, and JT running down the field, scoring a touchdown. Then 5 minutes later, you look up, and he's doing the same thing again and again and again. So it's just one of those things where you look up, you kind of just look at your teammates, shake your head, and laugh because it's truly unbelievable what he's doing this year and how he's going about doing it, running the ball, catching the ball. Truly the best back in football.
Why should he be the MVP? Because it's a quarterback award, as we all know. Why should he be MVP, Nick?
I mean, you see the highlight. I mean, you see the highlights. Running away from people, making people miss, and I know the highlights really don't do it justice. You go turn on the tape and watch, him making people miss in close quarters. Running through arm tackles, running through any type of tackle, D lineman, linebacker, safety, running away from safeties, making a miss. It's truly it's almost laughable to see guys are 2 feet away from him and then grasping for air. So
Mm.
definitely should be the MVP in my book, and just got to continue to keep his foot on the gas, and I'm sure it'll come.
I want to talk about tackles. And you've said this, Zaire said, like, you guys don't count stats, blah, 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 blah. How friendly or unfriendly is the competition between you two? Because Zaire led the team in tackles last year. This season, you're up 69-60 is the score. What is the banter there?
He always jokes with me. He always tells me I'm stealing his tackles, stealing his TFLs and whatnot. It's definitely friendly, but at the end of the day, he's been doing it for a lot of years. Someone who's a leader, very outspoken person in the locker room, someone who, people flock to, and his competitive energy just rubs off on everyone. So we'll sit there and laugh and joke, and he'd be like, "Hey, bro," he like just like last year, you started off hotter than me, but I'm gonna get there. So just got to make sure you don't catch me this year.
Um, it's not just tackles and being disruptive and around the ball and physical. You know, your coverage chops, I'd like to get into here. This interception off Justin Herbert in week 7. Can you talk me through this insane pick?
I would say, people gonna laugh when I say this, but I mean, when we went out there on the field, I was supposed to, I thought I had somebody, and Z was funny. Zaire was guarding the person I thought I had, so he's like, no, no, you go over the other side of the field. So, I looked and, I was like, well, I'm not getting any help. So I was like, I'm sure the ball gonna come to me, but I play a lot of Madden, I play a lot of, video games and whatnot. So when they ran a certain play, I was like, I've seen this play before, and I seem to get somebody else.
Wow.
So, I sat there and, I covered the man. I looked back and I was like, oh, shoot, the ball's here. So I just reached my hand out. And when I was able to pin it against my body, I was like, okay, as I was going to the ground, I was like, yeah, I just made a tough play. I was like, this is definitely tough. So it was definitely a good feeling to get that interception and help change the momentum of that, continue to keep the momentum in that game and, ultimately win the game.
You did this from Madden. A lot of people play Madden, study for Madden, but not everyone can make basically a one-handed interception. I don't even know what to ask you about this. You're saying that this happened because of Madden.
I mean, I will give credit, Coach Lou, he definitely puts us in good position. I play a lot of Madden because I want to be able to continue to,
Coach Lou gets enough credit. Coach Lou's getting a lot of credit this year for y'all, huh?
He's getting a lot of credit. That's my guy. Always, chit chat with him and come in there and watch tape. But, I play a lot of Madden and be able to go out there and, I sit there and use my IQ to play and beat the guys I play and whatnot and, try to learn a thing or two from it. So, just however you can get
interceptions kind of start happening. I don't know. I promise you by the next time we talk, it won't just be one. I have a feeling they'll keep coming. That's just the way it works.
I appreciate that. You got to put that stuff in the air for sure.
Zaire is rolling his eyes somewhere in the background, like, shut up, gay. Daniel Jones, I've been a big fan, big supporter. It's hard to not be, when somebody gets to rewrite their history and what they're looked like, it's hard to do in the NFL. People put labels on people. It's hard. And he's shedding that. And he got beat up. He got roughed up on Sunday. The blood, all of that. But he still makes these throws in these big moments. He still leads scoring drives when it matters. What does a performance like that, the bloody lip, the 7 sacks absorbed, still finding a way to win, what does that do to the team? What does that say about Daniel?
I mean, it says everything, Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones, whatever you want to call him, he gets the job done. Someone who is fearless back there. Sometimes I be, on the sideline, get down, but he puts his body on the line for the team. And, at the end of the day, no matter how many times he gets hit, how many times that, things might not go his way, he always comes back swinging. At the end of the day, he falls down, gets back up, keeps pushing. And every time, he always puts us in position to go out there and have a chance to win the football game. So, much respect to him, someone who, again, goes about his business the right way, prepares at an extremely high level, super down to earth, always laughing and joking in the locker room. So, someone who.
What is he joking about? That right away piques everyone's interest because there's all these he's quiet. There's he plays into that a little bit. He's funny.
He's funny. Yeah, we sit in the sauna sometimes and crack some jokes here and there, you know what I'm saying? So, two quiet guys sit there, there's a commonality, a common, quiet gene in there. So, at the end of the day, he's a great teammate and someone who I go to war for. People who know me know that, I don't really say too much on game day. I don't really, show a lot of emotion, but when 17's back there running with the ball or throwing the ball, he'll get a little emotion out of me too. So
why? Why would you go to war for Daniel Jones?
I mean, the bloody lip. He goes out there and he puts everything on the line every week. Doesn't give any excuses, goes out there no matter what the score is, what's going on. And he just goes out there and plays and leaves it all on the line. I remember the play at Tennessee, it was third and I think we were up 13-10 or something, 13-3 or something like that. And it was 3rd and 6. And basically he was about to get sacked. And I was like, oh, watch out. And, spun out of it and got the first down. And I was like, I just looked around. I was like, yeah, he's the real deal for sure. So, Daniel, if you're hearing this, you're my guy.
Oh my God,
So
I love this so much. I need to go to a game. You guys have the Chiefs this week. I want to go. Oh gosh. Chiefs this week is crazy. Really quick, Sauce Gardner. Okay. 4 days to learn the playbook. A long flight to Germany. Still strapped Drake London up for most of the game. What has been most impressive? What's your best impression and takeaway of the short time you've had Sauce in your life?
um he definitely lived up to the name. Definitely someone who I enjoy being around. Only been here 4 days, but learned the playbook really well. Real humble, real down to earth guy. Came in, made friends with all his teammates, and I know that Lou was just like, hey, just make sure to communicate with him, but he knew what he was doing. I'd be like, you got this, like, yeah, I got you, and play it to perfection. So, definitely someone I look forward to playing with even more, and when we get Mooney back, it'll definitely be even more fun. So
Yeah.
happy
I'd
we.
like you to play, Nick, even more with them after a long Super Bowl contending run this year. I understand that rookie contract almost up, free agent this offseason, those picks, that physicality, everything you're doing, wanting to fight, run through a wall for your quarterback. I know you're only worried about ball. You're getting ready for the Chiefs. I know that's all that matters. Have we started talks with my boy Chris Ballard yet?
I mean, I leave that to my agent. My agent does that stuff. I just go out there, play football. Have fun with my guys, and get on the K Adams show. So at the end, I'm
Do
just
you
out
want to
here.
be a Colt Cross?
I love Indianapolis. I love being there. I love what they got going on over there. They've
Okay.
basically seen me grow up since I was 20 years old. They came and drafted me, and with Chris, with Carly, with Shane, Lou. Always got to shout out my guy Lou, but. It's definitely somewhere, the team is great. It's a great family environment. So I love being in Indianapolis.
I like that you mentioned Carly second in that. I like that. I like Chris and Carly and Shane and Lou and all of that. Enjoy the rest of your bye week. It is I just love this for you, and you've earned it. You deserve it. Thanks for giving fans something to look forward to, not just Colts fans, just NFL fans looking for positivity. It is impossible not to root for. Tell Cam Bynum, tell Zaire I say hi, all of the guys. Enjoy it and enjoy manifesting this pick off Mahomes. I'm
I
saying. I'm just
appreciate it. You gonna show? You coming to the game?
I don't know. I would like to. I'll have my people talk to the Colts people. Lou needs to invite me. Lou, line one. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, Nick. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate
See
it.
ya. Bye.